In this video, I'll go over 6 key concepts that I try to keep in mind throughout all of my communication. Be assertive, be authentic, be unapologetic, be open-minded, show that we're listening, and show empathy. Now, assertive doesn't mean cocky or overbearing. It means we're confident in what we're saying. The ways I like to be more authentic is to talk about my own experience, and I also find maintaining eye contact shows that I have nothing to hide. The needless killing of animals is upsetting to people. The temptation is, if we say or show someone something that's upsetting, to apologize. However, this will dilute our message. Instead of explaining that emotion away, I like to try to build on that emotion. I like to go into every interaction with an open mind, like I have something to learn, and it's because of this that I often do. I like to show that I'm listening and waiting for the person to finish talking, because the reality is, if they're talking about veganism, they're thinking about veganism. I find one of the most powerful things we can do is to show empathy with others. Remember, the conversation you're having with someone may be the first time they've seriously spoken about veganism. If we allow ourselves to empathize with someone and even experience some of those emotions with them, it will be a much more powerful, lasting experience with them. I've also found validating people's emotions makes them more real, and the person's more likely to take action as a result. There's a few other communication tips I'd like to share with you that I've found work well. The first is to incorporate humor when possible. Now, this is a serious topic that should not be taken lightly. However, I find the occasional appropriate use of humor can help lighten the mood and help people keep more engaged in the conversation. It's always good to have a backup plan. My backup plan is to always bring it back to the animals. If the conversation goes off topic, one thing I might say is what really matters here is that we're doing what we can to stop the needless killing of animals. If you're in a heated exchange where it doesn't seem that conversation is going to be productive, it's okay to thank that person for their time and suggest you talk about it again later, or perhaps refer them to your favorite documentary. Remember, practice makes perfect. You've probably got some vegan friends around you that'll be happy to roleplay with you with various common justifications and what you might say to them. You might even have a companion animal at home that you could practice on. Have you had much experience with veganism? Have you ever thought about going vegan? Do you think we can be healthy without eating animals? Do you think there's a humane way to kill an animal? Do you value life over taste? The last tip I'd like to share in this video is a question I ask myself every time I'm responding to a non-vegan, and that's, what's best for the animals? That's the difference between advocating and venting. I want to take a moment and talk about interactions with the loved ones in our life. Interactions with loved ones are different. We care more what they think than we do a stranger on the street. For this reason, the conversation may not flow as naturally. Plus, there's a whole history with loved ones that you don't have with other people. For this reason, loved ones may feel more judged when you're talking about veganism. They may feel like if they're supportive of your veganism, they have to look into it more for themselves. They may not be ready to do this just yet. It's good to remind ourselves that the principles that we're discussing through these tutorial videos apply to interactions with loved ones as well, perhaps more so. One of the biggest is to remove that single interaction focus. Sometimes open-minded people in our lives might be our family members. Other times they may not be. When we're living with people who aren't vegan, it's good to keep asking ourselves what we're okay with and what we're not. Are we comfortable having non-vegan food in our house? What about when we go out to eat? Are we comfortable with others ordering non-vegan food? Are we comfortable with our family and friends making jokes about our veganism, or perhaps even ridiculing us? Once we find the answers to these questions, we can clearly communicate our boundaries with others. I would encourage you to communicate your underlying feelings. Anger is the easiest emotion to express. If we can communicate to our friends and family why certain foods or situations make us feel sad, they're going to be much more likely to understand where we're coming from. If they can understand where we're coming from, it's much more likely that you'll be able to find a common ground. Our parents may feel especially threatened. They may think that our veganism is counterintuitive to the values they raised us with. This is why I think we should remind our parents that our veganism is an extension of those values that they taught us of kindness and compassion. If we try to follow the principles discussed in these videos, I'm confident that we can have positive interactions with our family members. You may want to consider looking beyond your current friends and family for support. There's a chance there's other vegans out there, locally or online, that are going through very similar things to what you're going through. So let's be strategic and look for those opportunities where our family and friends are open-minded and use our energy wisely. After all, it's not up to us whether they choose to embrace veganism or not. Even if our loved ones don't choose to embrace veganism right away, hopefully they can at least understand where we're coming from, support us, and become a vegan ally. I think it's important for us not to give up. Remember, those close to us in our life, we have the most opportunity to inspire.